Hey guys, Dan with Pain For You. Today's video topic is going to be, you don't have to be perfect. What do I mean by that? Many of us are perfectionists, many of us are problem solvers, many of us are obsessed with healing, and you can't really screw it up too much, right? You don't have to do this healing process perfectly. You know, there's no perfect way to feel your emotions. There's no perfect mindset. There's no perfect anything as it relates to TMS. You know, some people chastise themselves and beat themselves up. I missed a day of journaling and now I'm starting all over. And, you know, you'd be surprised at how self-critical people sound when they reach out to me. And this is no judgment of you. This is an encouraging video where I just want you to realize this process is messy. This process is sloppy. Everybody is different. So if you are trying to compare yourself to what you're gathering from somebody else, from their Facebook comment that says, oh, I did this and I got better in this much time and everything else, and now you're judging yourself harshly for not meeting that standard set by somebody else when you really don't know their journey other than some comments on Facebook. So we don't have to do this perfectly. Give yourself permission to screw it up. Give yourself permission to sometimes do well with this process and this emotional discovery, and other times hate it. It's okay. This stuff is uncomfortable. It is not pleasant. But when you keep in mind the purpose of this emotional discovery and the purpose of getting this mindset right, which is essentially to end the pain, and it's very counterintuitive. We don't want to focus on ending the pain, ending the pain, ending the pain. What I want you to do is don't focus on the pain at all, if you can help it. You know, and I make a lot of recommendations about the work and the mindset. And hey, try not to pay attention to the work, or try not to, try not to pay attention to the symptoms. And then I'll hear somebody say, but it's the first thing that I think of, and how am I not supposed to pay attention if it's screaming at me? All right, so you can't do this perfectly. Be okay starting where you are now. So if the best you can do right now is don't freak out quite as much, you're still freaking out, but not quite as much as you did yesterday, and you're not at all able to develop this attitude of indifference that I say is important to, you know, turning off this neuroplasticity and rewiring things, be okay with that. Be okay with little baby steps, slightly better today. Begin where you are. And know, even though I think it is important to focus on the pain as little as possible, you're not going to be able to jump and say, okay, tomorrow that's it. I'm never going to even be aware of the pain tomorrow. And then, you know, be really upset when you can't do that overnight. It's okay not to do this perfectly. What we're looking for is little improvements here and there. And little improvements add up and they accumulate. There's a compound effect here. You know, it's like compound interest. And it grows and grows over time and time and time. You know, the difference in things compounding is tremendous. So don't expect to be perfect instantly, because there is no perfection, folks. None at all. And so don't be so harsh on yourself in judging how well you're doing these processes that I or any of the other TMS folks lay out for you. It's okay not to be perfect. You know what? Sometimes if we skip a day, don't chastise yourself. It's all right. I'm not suggesting that it's a good idea to skip, you know, weeks and expect to get better. But boy, you know, sometimes schedules happen. Sometimes we just feel like not doing this work. And you know what? You got one day slower progress by skipping a day. Is it recommended to do it every day? Absolutely, because you want to convince your brain that these emotions are safe and you don't need to be protected from them. And so, yeah, the more you do it, the better. But like I said in a video a couple days ago, this is not a full-time job. That doesn't mean, you know, feel your emotions for 15 hours a day until your pain is gone, right? I don't think that brute force is the way to go either. You just want to really convince your brain that Emotions are safe. So give yourself permission to do it messy, to be sloppy with it, to have some days where this process feels pretty okay and not too difficult, and other days where it feels awful and you don't like it, you know. But I will tell you that the more you resist, the more, the more you should be doing this work. If you really, really, really don't like these emotions, if you think they're uncomfortable, they're scary, they're dark, they have no meaning or purpose, and makes you a bad person or a weak person to feel them, it's that much more reason why you should do the emotional discovery work. So be okay being imperfect. Give yourself permission to screw up once in a while. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do this work perfectly to get better. Just take a few steps every day. Dive into the emotional focused discovery and exploration. Get the mindset dialed in. Again, I seriously think the mindset is just as important as the emotional work. And look, if you don't have enough knowledge about TMS, or you're on the fence and you're not really sure if this applies to you, then spend some time on the knowledge. Go reread Sarno. If you haven't read Sarno yet, read him. Read Steve Ozanich, read Nicole Sachs, read Dr. Schubner's book, Unlearn Your Pain, read Dr. David Clark's book, They Can't Find Anything Wrong. They're all great resources, but don't get stuck in the research and reading loop, because reading 85 books is not going to work if you don't get the assessment right and determine you've got this thing called TMS, or mind-body syndrome, or even this psychophysiological pain disorder, the PPD. Getting stuck reading and researching TMS and spending all your day on the forum is not a healing process. It may feel like it is because we're doing something, but knowledge, assessment, process, right? This emotional discovery process, and lastly, mindset. Those are the big four: knowledge, assessment, process, mindset, right? And within process is the soothing. Get out of fight or flight and into rest and recovery. So make sure you're covering all four of those, I'll call them healing pillars, if you will, or pillars of healing, whatever you want to call it. I don't need a fancy name, but there's four core areas that I believe warrant attention, and you get those four right, you can be messy through this whole process. As long as you're getting your mindset dialed in, you're not fearing and focusing on the pain quite as much, you're turning down the volume on your stress levels, you are really not reacting to the symptoms quite as severely as you used to, and that will get better with time. So don't react so severely. And again, don't criticize yourself if you're saying, okay, I like Dan's suggestion there, I'm going to do that starting immediately. And then you realize that it's a little bit more challenging than I make it sound. Look, some of these changes will take a little bit of time to sink in. They will take some commitment, awareness of when you're letting your thoughts run amok in the brain, in the mind, and be okay with this process being messy. So there's no need to be perfect, and be okay not being perfect. I know for us perfectionists, that drives us crazy. We want to be perfect more than anything, but there is no such thing as perfection. This is a messy process. Be cool with that. And let me know what you think. Does this ring a bell with some of you? Comment below. Let me know if you're the perfectionist who feels like you have to do this work perfectly or you're not going to get better. That's not true. Just keep on taking steps forward each day. You will still get better. You don't have to be perfect. So guys and gals, with that, I'm going to sign off. Love you. And we'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks.